Welcome back to another Mayor's Minute. I'm here in my office today, and I wanted to talk to you guys real quickly about backflow preventers in our water system. And if you were at the listening session a couple of weeks ago where we talked about your utility bill, or if you watched it online or have watched it since, towards the end when we were in our question and answer section, we did have a citizen ask about backflow preventers because he had heard that we had discussed that at a couple of workshops. And it was true that we had, and I did give a little bit of an explanation at that listening session. So if you go back and watch the video, you'll see that. But there has been a little bit of an update just in the last week. And because that was something we talked about, we wanted to get you that update back out. The backflow preventer, real quickly, is a device that goes on the water meter on the owner side. So if you have a piece of property in Havelock, it is a backflow preventer that goes on the water line or in line on the back side of the meter between your house and the meter. The idea of that is to protect the overall health of our water system so that that when we're using water in one place, it can't siphon something that you don't want in your water system into the system, or that people can't nefariously affect your system. Particularly in fire flows, it can create a lot of back movement of water, and you don't want to cause contamination in our entire water system. So the state has a bill, and it's administration code and NC State Building Code 18C.0406. If you really want to look it up, that states no person shall construct, maintain, or operate a physical arrangement whereby a public water system has a cross connection without the use of proper backflow prevention or protection. We have an ordinance amendment that we did back in February that kind of adopted that because we had to, we need to. We have not implemented how backflow preventers will be installed. And part of that conversation by the board is who installs them and who pays for them. And is that a burden that's going to be borne by each of you as water customers, and what has to be done to the meter, as well as even what type of backflow preventer, because there are a couple different types and which type would be required based on the size of your line. There's just a lot to figure out. And so we did workshop it, and we amended our ordinance to make sure we were in compliance, but we have not pushed any information out to you because we really don't know what that looks like. And just to show you how that's true, just on September 14th, just a week and a half ago, the League of Municipalities released an update, which comes from Senate Bill 166. And that update says, basically, there are a couple of changes, and one in particular is a local government is now prohibited from requiring an existing customer from installing a backflow preventer unless there's a hazard determination made by the utility or the state. So what does that mean? It means that now there are some restrictions on whether or not a municipality like us can go to you if you've already been here for 10 years, 15 years, and you've had a water meter with us, that we can now, it kind of prohibits us from coming and saying you have to put one in unless there's a threat identified. And so now we're in the process of reviewing our ordinances and looking at our entire water plan to identify low-level and high-level threats and line those up with what the state's determining as threats and trying to figure out what that looks like for the future. So the end of the day, I can't give you any real answers today, except there will be a lot more to follow. Number one question is, will you or will you not need a backflow preventer at each of your addresses? We're still not clear if that is the case or not. The second part is who's going to pay for that and what is that going to cost? All still unknowns. But because it became a topic at the listening session, we wanted to give you this information that it is changing regularly. A lot of it is dictated by the state of North Carolina, and we will be forced to implement those things to stay in compliance. And we're going to do that to the best that we can, obviously, to comply with the law, but with your best interest in mind as well, and how we execute on making sure we're in compliance. This is a very complex issue. Maybe when we get more information, we likely can do a listening session on this just to talk about what it means and what that looks like. So be on the lookout for that in the future once this starts becoming a little more clear. Until then, if you have specific questions, or if this just made it really as clear as mud and you want to hit us up with an email or a phone call, feel free to contact us. We'd be happy to give you what information we do have and talk about the issue for your particular address. Y'all have a great day.